Good evening, everybody. Good Lord. Sitting outside this evening. So let's see. We are live. Let me get my little phone out. And let's go over on TikTok. I got my chickens out here loose this evening. Let's see how we can do this. I don't know how we can do this. Maybe we do this like this down here. Put this over here. Let me get comfortable out here. We just got back from our walk. What is this? It's so nice here in Atlanta. It's like in the 70s today. It's pretty this evening. I'm weary about going back and drinking these Gatorades. I don't like the zero Gatorade, but this Gatorade right here is 80 calories. But it's got 21 grams of sugar. That's a lot of sugar. I probably need to get away from them. Good evening, TikTok, coming to you sitting out in my little backyard in Atlanta, Georgia here, East Point, Georgia, Jefferson Park neighborhood. Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well this evening. Let me see if I can get that to sit right there. That might be the way to go right there. Hello, Mo. Appreciate all the people. Come on in. Let's sit down. Let's sit down for a minute. Sit a spell. Hope everybody had a good day. Wasn't it just a wonderful day today? Up. What happened? Something happened. Oh, it turned the volume down. There we go. We back. Good Lord. Y'all. It is very beautiful outside, Katie. We just got through doing our walk. Maybe I'll just hold this. And Ava's on some kind of Zoom call. She was going to join me, but she gets tied up. They talking about creating another board for something. Ooh, they must be Baptists. Baptists like to have a lot of boards. Yeah, it's so beautiful out here this evening. I'm sitting here watching my chickens scratch around. Let's see how we can do this. I was going to show you my chickens. They out here in the yard. That's my little garden house out here behind me. But good evening, everybody. Coming to you from Atlanta. On this is just going to be a foretaste of spring this week. Prelude to spring. Beautiful. I think I'm going to go get a hair trim tomorrow. Good Lord. When you do look in these cameras, it's almost like you're looking in a mirror. Like, yeah, I need to do that. Good Lord. But good evening, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, TikTok, which TikTok's my favorite. Like if you had 4 kids, and, every parent says, oh, I love all my kids just the same. I think I do. I don't think you can measure love among your kids. But if TikTok was it's beautiful in Alpharetta. Yeah, Alpharetta's just right up the road a little ways. But if social media was my children, TikTok would be my favorite. Then it would be Facebook. Then it would be Instagram. Then it would be YouTube. Then it would be Blue Sky. And then it would be X. Actually, Instagram, YouTube, and X and all that's kind of whatever. But TikTok and Facebook, yeah. Hey, everybody. I don't know what's going on in the news today. Y'all know I don't even turn on no more news. I just good evening from Southwest Florida. Southwest Florida. Yes. To let my geography kind of go through my brain. Yeah. Good evening. Y'all come on in and say hey this evening. Hope everybody had a good day. It's just so beautiful. It's hard not to feel good when the weather's like this. I think we get all this vitamin D and our endorphins and everything like that going on. Hello from balmy Minnesota, Devin. Yeah. Um, I've known people. I've never been to Minnesota, but I've worked with people. My buddy Al, he was from Minnesota, and I've known a few other people in Minnesota, and they talk about how beautiful Minnesota is. I could imagine that. It's probably very beautiful up in there. Uh, Hello, Miss Penny Wynn. Um, 85 here today. Rita, you go on with yourself. 85. You know, I'll turn 70 in September, and then when I see y'all whippersnappers on here turning 85, I'm like, yeah, I might have a good 15 years left in me, good 20 years. Other people are doing it. Um, what do you think about all the protests holding different countries' flags? I think I'm good with it. I don't. Why are we so fickle about I don't know why people would be upset about it. And what you're referring to, I seen something where on social media. Uh, September the 26th is my birthday this year. In September the 26th, real nice day here. Also, uh, somebody's turned 85 today. Isn't that a blessing? Could you imagine to live 85 years upon this earth? Yeah, and I'm always reminded, like when my granny Sugar, she was 90 and she was passing, and I was asking her, I'm like, Granny, what's the biggest surprise, really, if you had to say one, one big thing in your 90 years, what went on? And I thought she maybe would say the invention of television or the car, or, something like that, the big thing. And she said, I tell you, the biggest thing that stuck in my mind was how quickly 90 years went by. And I think we all get there where we feel like that a little bit. Some of you people on Instagram and Facebook, I'm sitting here holding my phone talking to these folks. Um, my setup's weird out here tonight. I should have brought a little phone stand out here. Miss Rita, 69 years old. Y'all better shout. My thing is I'm, I pride myself on turning 70 in September because I had two brothers under me. Both of them died at 39 each, one of them in a car wreck, one of them just kind of drank himself to death. And so to live anywhere past 50, 60 years, my best friend Sammy died before he turned 50, and my other best friend, I had two best friends in life. John passed at a young age. I don't know. I don't think John made it to 50. I don't think so. Maybe he did. Um, and here I am. It's funny when I look back on that, and I remember the times that me and Sammy and John, we'd be traveling to Puerto Rico, or we'd be, they always cracked on me. They called me Pawpaw even back when I was in my 40s, and they knew him. Uh, that's sad to hear. Uh, E.B. Luther said, my brother drank himself to death at 42. So sad. Yeah, we understand a lot more about alcoholism now and how dark of journey and battle that is for people. Good evening, Miss Lexi. I remember, years ago, people said, why don't you just stop drinking? You don't have to do all that. We didn't understand the really deeply addiction alcoholism is. And, but good evening, Lexi. Um, but but anyhow, my two best friends, Sammy was 12 years younger than me, and John was maybe about the same. So I was 12, 13 years younger than both of them. And I don't know the times where we'd be riding up to Nashville or somewhere, and they would joke about me being an old pawpaw, an old man. And I'd always said this, and I said it in jest. I didn't really know this, but I cut with them. I said, I tell you one thing, I might be old, but I'm going to outlive you two. And they're like, yeah. I said, you wait and see. I'm going to outlive you two. Y'all ain't got nothing on me. And sure enough, now that I look back on that, I almost wish I hadn't have done that because I did. I outlived both of them. My friend John, he had brain cancer, a tumor in his brain cancer. Had a real horrible last 2 years of his life before he got out here. And my buddy Sammy, he collapsed and just died getting up out of his bed one weekend. So yeah, so it's kind of strange, isn't it? All that kind of stuff. But anyhow, sitting out here in my garden this evening, having me a Gatorade, 21 grams of sugar, y'all. I don't think I want to buy no more of these. Ava picked up a little pack of them the other day because I like after I get my walk in. It does have electrolytes and it does it's got water, sugar, dextrose, citric acid, a natural flavor, salt, sodium citrate, monopotassium, phosphate, modified food starch. I don't need to be drinking this. This ain't got nothing but a butt. Thank y'all for all the hearts over here. Uh, this ain't got nothing. I don't need all them chemicals in my body. I'm just gonna have to start just chugging my water down. Yeah, I don't have to do that. That's 21 grams of sugar. Yeah. And I like coconut water too, but coconut water's only got like 8 grams of sugar instead of 21. Plus, it's got electrolytes in it also. But anyway, good evening, everybody. Top of the evening to you. Hope you're doing well this evening. I probably should get back up here where I don't even know if these people can hear me over here. Whoops. This all kind of comments right here. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Let me see right here. Maybe I can do it like this. Here we go. How's that? Look at that. That might work better, mightn't it? That way I can get comfortable and not have to hold that dead burn phone. So, yeah, Myra says, good evening over on TikTok. Says, got to go back to Georgia in that good weather. Man, Atlanta does have some really, really nice weather. You know, we had 2 snows last month. That's weird, isn't it? How about them Falcons? Yeah, I tell you what, though, we may have a decent little quarterback that's coming up. He did pretty good the last 3 or 4 games last year. I love pro football. You know, I know these are millionaires playing for billionaires and it's all. I tell you one thing, though, you know, I always kind of veer over into politics or either over into religion. I'm fascinated by both of them, honestly. And I seen somebody post the other day about the same people that were so outraged with Kaepernick taking a knee. Those same people were just outraged at Kaepernick, but yet don't have no problem with Donald Trump being a convicted sex offender. It's weird, isn't it? Are we not? Your voice is always so soothing to the soul. Thank you, Miss Vanessa. It's kind of weird, isn't it, that those Christian people are so upset, you know? Y'all remember back 7 or 8 years ago when they, what was his name? The Truth Factor, whatever he was over on Fox, that Bill O'Reilly, the no spin factor or something like that. And how he got the whole country worked up one time because Target was saying happy holidays to people instead of Merry Christmas. And boy, they were just like all the Christians were like, oh my God, they're destroying Christmas. I'm going to protest them. They won't say happy Merry Christmas no more. And just outraged over stuff like that. But not outraged over a man that's a convicted sex offender voting for him. My Lord. We always said years ago in the South, you'd hear people say, I ain't going to church. Ain't nothing but a bunch of hypocrites down there at that church. Well, my God, they might have been right. They might have been right because they sure did show their colors to be a bunch of hypocrites, didn't they? Outraged at Kaepernick for taking the knee. Good Lord. Now look at us. Look at us. Got caught with your pants down, didn't you? Good heavens. I have to watch talking like that over on TikTok. It ain't that TikTok could do it. It's just MAGA people get so upset. They just flood the thing about take him off, take him down, take him down. So anyway, coming to you this evening from Atlanta, Georgia. Enjoying this evening. Sitting out here just enjoying myself. Make sure ain't no bird above me. I was sitting out here the other day and a bird shit right on the laptop. I like to never got that one with the bird flu going around now. Hey, y'all, did y'all see where that, I've seen on CNN where that little thing scrolled across? They did a little segment on it. All the Waffle Houses are putting a 50 cent per egg surcharge on every order. So if you go in and get 2 eggs scrambled, that's an extra dollar right there. And they expect the price of eggs because of what's going on and them killing millions of birds trying to get ahead of this bird flu thing. They expect the price of eggs that's already over $10 a dozen in New York. And they expect eggs to get up to $10 or $12 a dozen, even here in the South. With all these, they said it takes about 9 months to bring in millions of more chickens, get them up to laying age from the time they're born, about 9 months. And which I don't have no issue with that because I got 4 hens right out here scratching around in the yard. Hey, Marlis, Miss Marlis. Yeah, love you too. So I have 4 hens, and do y'all know this about chickens? And I love chickens. To me, chickens are just like little baby dinosaurs. If you ever get out there and look at chickens walking around, how they walk, and you can just see where they're a descendant of the dinosaur. Uh, hey, Mama Tina. Uh, so chickens are, and I've always loved chickens anyhow. I love living in the South. I live in San Diego now. Man, I've never been to San Diego. I've been to Palm Springs and drove up to San Francisco and all up and down through there. My cousin Jimmy and Hannah, they lived in San Diego when he was in the Navy, and they just talked about how they loved it. Of course, from what I hear, anywhere in California now is worse than Atlanta. You got to have some money to live in San Diego, or at least buy a little house out there. But anyhow, did y'all know this, that chickens are born with all the eggs already that they'll ever lay? And the real good laying chickens lay about 300 eggs a year, once they get about 6 or 7 months old. And but they lay about 80% of all their eggs the first 2 years. And then they got very they just lay very sporadic after the first 2 years. So a lot of people throw them in a pot and eat. I can't eat yard chickens. I did that when I was a kid. Yeah, I can't eat it. But I tell people, even for like, you have to check with your HOA or some city codes or whatever. But people so concerned about paying $10 a dozen for eggs, well, you can go to any little grain feed store supply or Tractor Supply, and you can buy little baby chickens for like $4.99 and have a small little place somewhere out in your yard. The problem is people get carried away and they're like, I just wanted a couple of hens. And now I got 30 of them running around the yard. They call it a chicken math, where you just get out of control with them. But my thing is the other thing I love about having chickens, Mama says they get tired. The other thing I love about having chickens, is nothing in the house ever goes to waste. When we cook, we cook a lot. Actually, sometimes we've been eating out lately, but nothing ever goes to waste. I mean, whatever's left over, grits, beans, bread, whatever, just take it out. The chickens will just tear into it. They eat everything. Then the other benefit of having chickens, after they poop a lot too. They have a roosting bar up there, and in their little hen house, they go in it. You got straw in there. So about every week, every 2 weeks, I take it. I got a Coroplast board in there, and I take it out and I dump their poop out. Hey, Heather, you should. Maybe I can help build you a cute little pen you could go out. But there's 3 things. First off, they provide you with really good protein. Man, them fresh eggs, you can devil egg sandwiches, potato salad. I mean, you can use eggs. You can make your own mayonnaise out of eggs. But there's 3 things that they do. They're kind of like composters. You throw nothing away, they eat everything. Then you take their poop, which is fertilizer. And for somebody like me that loves gardening, I have a garden in my front yard, my backyard, my lower backyard. Everything's gardening everywhere, pots everywhere. Well, all their poop is just like, you would pay a lot of money for good fertilizer chicken poop like that. I just go get it by the shovels and, let me clean out their little pen. So it's a three process. They put good protein in my body. They compost. Nothing gets wasted. Then they give back fertilizer for the garden out here. And not only that, but, in the South, there's a possibility under a lot of this gardening stuff, they could be little baby copperheads or something that could hurt you. And you accidentally reach down and pick up, messing around with one. Well, every evening I don't leave. I just mainly when I'm out because we got coyotes in the neighborhood. I can hear them howling. It makes me nervous, for boom booming them. But every evening, every afternoon, I let them out at about 4:30, and let them. They'll go back in as it starts to get dark and get in their hen house. But they scratch all over the yard. If there's even little baby snakes, little snakes out here, they get them. They'll round them up, which I've never seen them get one, but I just know they determined to get something. So anyhow, I love having chickens, and and not only that, but the 4 hens I've got, one of them's a little Bantam Cochin. She's so cute. The 4 hens I have one of them, two of them lay brown eggs. One of them lays green eggs, and one of them lays a powder puff blue egg. And I don't know, it's just kind of cute to have different color eggs. You go in there and get a green egg, a brown egg, a blue egg. They're just pretty. They're just pretty sitting in the refrigerator. So, but anyway, y'all, coming to you from Atlanta this evening it just feels like spring, doesn't it? Coming to you this evening. Let me see if I can't work with this. Hey, good evening, Miss Sherry. It's probably pretty out there where you're at too. It's just beautiful, here. What happened here? My setup inside's better, but it's just so pretty. I just want to come sit outside right here. Y'all, I have an outside garden, old clawfoot tub with plumbing run to it too. Who was that was telling me today? Oh, Ava said, you ought to do a live soaking in your tub. No, people ain't going to see my nakedness like that. But yeah, it is beautiful. Very beautiful. Hey, everybody, coming to you from Atlanta this evening. Yeah, can't you, Charlene? You can hear the birds chirping in the background. It's a beautiful day in the A. Absolutely. Just so pretty here in Atlanta. Just enjoying my day, y'all. Not doing nothing. Ain't really, I don't know what's going on in the news other than that Robert Kennedy and that Tulsi, whoever, they're not going to reject anybody. He could put Vladimir Putin up there for defense secretary, and they, it's basically a coup that's going on up there. I think Sherry said over on Facebook, said it makes you forget about all the craziness happening in the world. I think we have to take a time out from some of that. Really and truly, I don't know what we can do. What can you do right now? The MAGA crowd has handed the keys to the bus to Donald Trump and have told him, buddy, if you want to do away with Social Security, we all for you. If you want to sell our troops off to Russia, we're right behind you. They just went to that extreme with it, where it's actually a coup that's happened in this country. He is at a meeting with Netanyahu at the moment. 2 sick criminals, absolutely. And somebody asked me earlier over here on TikTok, said, what did I think about the outrage of people? I think a big protest in Los Angeles, and all these MAGA and Trump people are so outraged that the protesters are marching with Mexican flags and Honduran flags and whatever country they're from, they're marching with. Oh, how dare they? They should get out of our country. They should be marching under. It wouldn't matter. If they was marching under the American flag, these same people would castigate them and think they're evil and no good anyway. So, but why not? Are we that? It kind of reminds me of a lot of Christians that's so fickle about their faith that if somebody says anything about Jesus, they're like, oh my God, they're attacking the Christianity. Like, who cares? But I think if I think expats that come here from other countries, or if I went to live in Costa Rica, or something, that wouldn't mean I wouldn't want to still love America. These people love the places they came from. People are like, well, why don't they go back to where they come from if they love it so much? Why don't you take your ass back where your mom and them come from? You ain't no third or fourth generation American here. Uh, so, yeah, yeah. I tell you what it is. We've got uh, America always has to have a group to hate. Um, the group now is trans people and immigrants. And I don't like the term illegal immigrant. Uh, uh, maybe I could say something like immigrants that's here that's without papers. They're here. Uh, I have. Um, I wish there was a way that I could support the immigrants that's here without papers, because there are neighbors. To me, I look at them as like our family. Mexicans, have y'all ever driven out around Mexico? Have y'all been down in Mexico? My God, some of the sweetest people in the world. Uh, the I wish I could find a way to support them. To not the ones that's here, the ones that's here with papers. Yeah, they're safe. Um, yeah, I think so, Sherry. Yeah, I've got some seller's blood in me that goes all the way back to driving those early Americans off their lands and pushing them further and further all the way out to the Pacific Ocean. That was my people that did that. That was bone in my bone, my DNA, my blood did all that. And uh, y'all, hey, DeBard, I tell y'all, we need these people that's coming over here to make our country better and stronger. They're not taking how. I told a contractor the other day, because he was all upset. He said, now that this is going on, he's got 2 or 3 crews out doing construction. He said he's losing people left and right. He can't get the sheetrock guys because people are afraid they're going to be arrested. And you know what I told him? I said, good luck trying to find some 30-year-old white men to get their asses out there and roof them houses in 90-degree heat. You don't see it. You drive around anywhere in the South, all what I call, I don't want to use the word shit jobs, but let's don't use that word. All the jobs that really require real hard work, you look who's doing them. Latinos everywhere, roofers, concrete, cement block layers, landscapers. Yeah, you might see a couple of white guys out here in Elberton, Georgia, with the pickup truck trying to do some side jobs. You come around all this construction going on in Atlanta. We need these people. These people that are undocumented. They're what's churning this economy and helping America to grow. And so, yeah, and like Sherry said, they'll work 7 days a week. I'm telling you, I'm just coming from it from a from a white man. You ain't gonna get white people to work that hard. White people's good at being bosses and sitting around and hiring people and telling them how to work hard. You ain't gonna drive down a construction site and see 7 or 8 30-year-old white men out there in the heat of day tearing off roofing and stuff like that. I'm telling y'all, this country, we need these people to make our country function and to be what it is. And I don't care if it pisses some of these MAGA people off and these Trump people that hate them. Have you seen such hatred? I know Christian people who can speak in tongues. He cut a boho shataya out of one side of their mouth and sing victory in Jesus, and out of the other side of the mouth just despise them and hate them, round them all up. I'm like, good Lord. UJ says the car wash companies are closed in LA. Yeah, I'm telling y'all, we need these people. Drive across these big fields across Alabama, South Georgia, Mississippi, where all these fields are full of crops. Good luck getting a bunch of white people to get their ass out there and pick them tomatoes and peppers and things. Good luck to you, because they're not doing it. You know, they'll go vote for Trump, but they ain't going to take their ass down there, them and their cousins, and pick those tomatoes. They'll let them rot on the vine before they'll go pick them. Yeah. So, yeah, my heart goes out to them, y'all. My heart goes out to them. They're what they are now. They're scapegoats. You know, what MAGA has been so brilliant at doing is somebody says, I can't use God's name in vain. He will come for you. Let me answer that by saying this. I find that hilarious. I don't know if you're being silly or if you're being true. You sound like my granny, though. My two grannies says, you can't use the Lord's name in vain. Watch this, y'all. Goddamn. 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 Nothing happened. No stars are falling. The heavens ain't opened up. It's just a word. And first off, I've always answered that with this: God is not a name. You know. Yeah. So I tell you what, I've had so many people tell me though since Trump got elected, they really take on a whole new calling of cussing. Cussing, you know, what's that FOFA or something around, you know, F around and find out, you know, that F word just seems to be vibrating around everybody now. Yeah, they did. Yeah, a lot of people create a boogeyman out of God, create a boogeyman. Yeah, the boogeyman now is folks always try to condemn it, someone to hell. Yeah, they do. Isn't it silly, Sherry? You know, the thing about me now, I'll turn 70 in September. I quit believing in hell at 39. And I don't think I ever believed in it the 17 years that I pastored. For one thing, my mama never was outspoken about it, but my mama, she was a tongue talker, played her tambourine under tent revivals. She just said, son, there is no hell. All the hell you're going to experience is when you walk through this life. You'll walk through hell, you'll go through hell, you'll come out of hell, but you'll do it in this life. And so somewhere about 39 or 40, I just couldn't wrap my brain around the fact that a loving God that would send his only begotten son for our sins would also create a lake of fire to burn his creation in. And then, you know, in Jehovah's Witness and in Christianity, they're like, oh, there's just a handful that'll be saved. There's going to be a way many more people that's going to be on the road to destruction. I'm like, well, my God got screwed up then, didn't he? You know? And so I think I reached a point, I know in my soul, I know there is no lake of fire. There's no dark, weird places you go after you die. Hitler's not going to hell. There is no hell. Your mama's not going to hell. None of that. Hello, my name is John Ross. Today is my birthday. I'm 36. Happy birthday, John. If we could all sing to you, I'd sing to you, but we're all scattered around the country. Hey, John, over on TikTok, we had somebody that turned 85 today. So we're going to borrow some of her blessing and send it your way for your 36. And so she's got about right at 50 years on you. We need you to be blessed enough to have another 50 years. That's because all these false prophets still preach condemnation when Jesus told us that we're not. Kim asked me, so when you have this conversation about hell, you often get asked, well, what do you think about heaven? Here's where I'm at with heaven. If the Christian version that I heard of heaven, if that's the real heaven, where there's all these people, really some mean-spirited people, if I'm going to heaven with the Jim Swaggarts and we're going to all gather around the throne and Jesus is going to sit on the throne and we're going to spend eternity bow down, worship him, holy, 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 I don't want no part of that. I don't want no part of it. It doesn't do nothing for me. I just about as soon spend eternity in Riverdale, Georgia, right down here to Days End, than go be around all that. So would Trump go to heaven? Oh, my God, he's to many he's already Christ. So he, but here's where I'm at with heaven. Is there an afterlife? Nobody knows. Is any of it true? Who knows? I do get a sense because of just some life experiences of hearing and visions and kind of weird encounters with people that had died that I'm like, oh, so they're not completely gone. There's something here. Marla said, I think this is hell. My mama thinks that parts of this life can be hell. Along with this hell, there's a lot of joy and happiness and goodness too. So here's where I reached the point with heaven and hell about 20 years ago, is that I'm okay if let's just say this is it. Not Riverdale. Oh my God, Leia, love you evidently must know Riverdale, not Riverdale, because you call that's a kind of hell anyhow. But oh my God, that's funny. The but here's where I'm at with as far as heaven. I'm okay if there is nothing after this. Why do we, you're talking about, we've had this discussion, right? Not Clayton County Sherry knows, but we talked, over the last few years, we talked about white privilege. What is this kind of Christian privilege that people have that thinks that if they come to this life and whatever they go through, they should be entitled to live eternity in mansions in paradise and streets of gold? That's kind of a lot of self-entitlement, isn't it? So, and I'm being very honest when I say this. If this is all there is, this one shot on earth, I'm okay with that. If I never get to see my mom again, I saw her for 73 years. Well, not 70, she died at 73. I saw her for like 50-something years on earth. If this is all there is, I'm good with that. Somebody says I'm not religious, but it's just spiritual. Yeah, I think we're all spiritual. Even the atheists and agnostics, I think they're. Was it Einstein? Somebody famous said this thing one time that kind of resonates with a lot of people. I think it was Einstein who said that we're all spiritual beings experiencing humanity, but at our core, we're spiritual beings. This flesh and bone is an experience of humanity that we're having. Reincarnated, they speak of. Yeah. The Bible's full of reincarnation. Christian preachers won't preach about it. But even John said that, even Jesus said John the Baptist was Elijah that had come back in the flesh if they could receive that. So, and on the Mount of Transfiguration, Moses and Elijah sat and talked to Jesus, and the disciples, Peter and John and them, they knew them, even though they had died before they were born. They immediately knew that was Moses and Elijah on the mount with Jesus. So this heaven and hell thing, I'm going to tell y'all, there is no hell. And I'll take it one step further, and this has no impact on my faith in Christ. And let me just say this about how I view Christ. I view Christ like I view the poet Maya Angelou. Her words, when Maya Angelou says, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them the first time. That's as powerful as any scripture you'll ever read in any of the books of the Bible, because it makes you take a breath and say, oh my God, people are showing me who they are. Miss Angelou said, believe them, believe them the first time. Yeah. And I tell you what, there's not a one of us that hasn't learned that lesson in life, because people tried to show us who they were, and then we just wouldn't accept it. We wouldn't believe it. And then when Dr. Angelou said that, I'm like, oh my God, That's so powerful. And many other things she said. So I look at Jesus, the thing he says, where he says to love your neighbor as yourself, to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. All these pearls of wisdom that Jesus has nothing to do with MAGA, has nothing to do with Trump, has nothing to do with the Assembly of God, Church of God in Christ, African Methodist Church. It has nothing to do with none of it. His power and his words stand the test of time. And sending blue hearts from Michigan. Thank you there. Thank y'all for the gifts this evening. Uh, I forgive and forget, but I wish the best just from the other there, not around me. Yeah, I get it. So my thing is, if this is all there is, this journey on earth, I'm good with that. I mean, my God, I had so much fun. I'd do it again. I'd come back, and if this is a do you know those daughters of the Confederate had them take her books out of schools? Isn't that sad? Isn't that sad? Yeah, yeah. Somebody else made this point one time a couple of years ago that I thought, man, that's very interesting. Somebody else made the point that we always heard about the witches being burned at the stake in Salem. And then they asked this question. They said, why didn't we never hear about the people that were burning the witches? Those were the people that you should have been afraid of, not the ladies that were being burned. Why didn't we hear about who was doing the burning? And so reminiscing of the past make you believe in life. Yeah. I just had an experience in a hospital one time at my mama's foot of her deathbed. I wrote about it in a book that's on Amazon. Shameless plug. The Cabbagetown years. That about 3:00 in the morning, my two brothers I mentioned, James and Joe, 39 each when they died, they came visit me. And I was standing. I got up, stood at the foot of her bed. Each one of them stood on the side of her bed. We didn't have a conversation, and they were just there. And they looked like human form to me, not kind of Casper the Ghost thing. And it left me trembling, and it left me thinking, we don't know what this is. That's the thing that's so fascinating about death, or the transition, or the crossing over. Nobody knows what it is, what will happen. And I've also had this experience too, because, as a pastor, I was at the bedside of quite a few people that had, when they were passing. And I watched people that had such trepidation about dying, been to church all their life, paid their tithes, believe in Jesus, but man, they would just fighting and fighting and fighting. And then I noticed there was this moment where they just kind of let it go and they made peace with it. And hey, Miss Rhonda, good evening to you. And I had yes, my brother came to me. Yeah, Teresa, there's been so many of us that have had experiences that we're like, what? What was that? I know that when they revived me and I had my heart surgery and my heartbeat they had to stop my heart. My heartbeat when I was in the emergency room was 365 beats a minute, which the cardiologist explained to me later, your heart's in a flutter. It's just doing that. You see that? I was doing it over on Facebook. And so although I couldn't talk and I couldn't see, I could hear them. And the doctor told me, said, Mr. Sellers, we're going to give you a shot to stop your heart, to try to see if we can't save you. And I was at death's door. And man, they put a big old needle in this vein in your neck, and I could feel the chemical. And he said, it's going to make you nauseous. And just as he said that, my heart stopped and I heaved and my chest come up off the bed and I heaved, but I didn't throw up. I was just heaving. It was making me nauseous. And yeah, my daughter Heather was there that time too. I just went on Amazon to order your book. Well, thank you, Sherry. The Cabbagetown years. But what I noticed in that, when I finally made peace with letting go, I knew I was dying. I mean, I had no doubt my heart wasn't starting. It took a couple of minutes. They got it going back, but I knew I was at death's door. And I kept waiting And I kept visualizing my brother James, which is my brother right under me, like he was just going to show up in my brain and just say, "Get up from there, brother. Come on, I got you. I got you. Let's go. Let's go. Shit on this place. We getting out of here." That kind of brotherly thing. Nobody never came. Jesus didn't come. There was no angel. There wasn't no granny. It was just like, yeah, I was going to sleep. I was just going to sleep. Is there anything after this? Yeah, who knows? If there's not, a lot of people believe that it'll just be nothingness that happens after this. Well, if that's the truth, we just go back to being the same nothingness we were before we got here. We don't remember none of that. It's just a lot of nothingness. Then there's parts of me to believe I've lived many lives. That yeah. So yeah. But anyhow, all over that, talking about that. I find politics fascinating. I find religion fascinating. I find death fascinating. Not in a creepy, weird way. Just we're all heading to that day one day. It could be on the way home from work tomorrow afternoon in a car wreck, or my God, those people up here in this plane that hit this helicopter, just boom, just out of nowhere, they're gone. Marla said, "I think I've been here before." Yeah, I've had these weird things right here. 5 or 6 years ago, when they had the total eclipse, my daughter Jill found out where it's going to be, right where the real total eclipse is. It was out at Lake Hartwell, up here on the coast of South Carolina. So we went out there, and it was 1:00 in the afternoon. The eclipse was happening, and as the sun, the planets, whatever, come over the sun, and it was dark. I mean, it just got really dark, and it was so weird because it was like 2:00 in the afternoon. Well, while I'm standing there with Ava and my daughter Jill and Savannah and all, I just start crying. I mean, I just felt so emotional. I started crying, and my daughter Jill asked me, said, "Daddy," said, "what is it?" I'm like, "I've been here before. I've seen this before. I've been here before. I've been a part of this many times." And I just had this overwhelming sensation that I felt like I was like E.T. in the movie. And whatever that was going, I was saying, that's my home. That's my home. I've been here. I've been here. So all this stuff, who knows? I'm certainly not going to pin it all on some doctrinal religions that come out of the Southern Baptist Convention, stuff like that, or Martin Luther, yeah. We all have a number, and that's one appointment we will not miss. Yep. Yeah. And the thing about it is, yeah, it is what it is, some of us, yeah, it'll be interesting. It's getting dark on me out here. Y'all, let me see. The dead that live in God's memory will be called from the memorial tombs. It gives me hope. Yeah. I tell you what now. Well, my Uncle Paul said when being operated on, he was an outer experience. Yeah. Eddie, what part of the country are you from? We might be kinfolk. We share the same last name. Really? The Dirkster. I was born here in Atlanta, downtown at Grady Hospital. Lived in Cabbagetown as a boy. I've lived in Atlanta my whole life. Most of the settlers, there was a good group of them that was over around Montgomery, Tuscaloosa. Let's take that back. Tuscaloosa. When I was a boy, my Uncle AC would take me over to Tuscaloosa, and I'd meet all these settlers women. Kind of weird to me because they were old and they had rheumatoid arthritis. They had knuckles. So I'm like, I'm 70. I hope that rheumatoid arthritis, whatever it does your hands, like they look like alien hands. They had that arthritis bad. So Tuscaloosa, Flaw says, enough about that damn dying. Talk about that son bitch, Trump. Laugh out loud. Yeah. We've talked so much about Trump, y'all. Trump's kind of depressing, ain't he? It's kind of depressing. My grandma passed from cancer but I was cleaning the house of my family. She spoke to me as clearly. Yeah, we've all had those experiences, y'all. You know, uh, my thing is, what what would I hope heaven would be? What would I hope heaven would be? If I could design the perfect heaven that I don't think I'd ever get tired of, uh, it would be for my family, my daughter Heather and Jill, and the people that they love, and Caleb and Kathy and Ava and friends Sammy and John, people I've loved along my life. If we were just all on some St. Simon's Jackal with all the heathen gone, and we could just have a million years of sitting by the edge of the ocean every evening, eating a good old chili cheese hot dog, with some good old uh, Lay's ruffled potato chips, drinking plenty of sweet tea, and smoking a cigarette. Y'all, I used to love to smoke. You have to make choices where you have to quit or they're going to kill you. Oh my God. Um, the Maybe just enjoy a cigarette. Uh, I think heaven is everything we want in love for me and nature. Yeah. I tell y'all what, great music include. Yeah, some good music. Yeah, I wouldn't mind Jesus being there, but if he didn't show up, I mean, I'd be like, yeah, he's busy. But I wouldn't mind Jesus be there, but he can't be no party pooper. He can't be telling you, oh, you can't be thinking about that. I'm watching everything you do. And, I'm like, Jesus, you're creepy. Go on. We're not doing all that in this part of the extension of life. You did all that when I was a child. Rick Hodge says, I just ordered your book. Can't wait to read it. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Um, but y'all understand, people showing laughing faces over here. We don't want the creepy Jesus. We got the creepy Jesus right now in the country. That's the creepy Jesus is what's put Trump in office. We don't like the creepy Jesus. We like the Jesus that comes to us in the midnight hour when we're troubled and worried. And we like to imagine him speaking to our soul and saying, fear not, because I bring you peace. Everywhere after Jesus died, when he would appear to people, he'd start off by saying, fear not, I bring you peace. You know, and so no wonder he was called the uh, the peace, the peace person. The time's coming, church is going to pay tax. That's what they're worried about. Yeah, yeah, that would help. That would help resolve some issues, wouldn't it? The Jesus who loves the neighbors no matter what. Yeah, you know, I, yes, you know. And my thing is, this is something I've heard other preachers and speakers say. The reason that so many people cannot love their neighbor is because you have to have love in you to be able to give it to somebody else. And I've heard other people say, if you can't love yourself, how can you love your neighbor? So it starts with us. And maybe the reason so many Christian white nationalist MAGA type Christians can't love trans people, can't love undocumented immigrants, they really just can't love themselves. Have you seen how angry, just mean spirited, angry? Yeah, it's something. Something. Y'all, it's getting dark on me out here. Uh, I got a little rotisserie chicken I picked up at the store and I put on some rice. I'm going to go eat me a little. Sherry says, I lost my brother when I was 8 and he was 13 and I'm 52 now. And I always dreamt of him when he was 13. And then about 20 years ago, he came in my dream and he was an adult telling me about how heaven was. And he was an architect and so happy. It really shocked me. Yeah. I'll tell you something else too. Exactly. God is love. He lives there. Yeah. Yeah. Spring fever. They believe in vertical morality. Man, that's good right there. That's good. Yes. Love thyself first. Yeah. And you can love other people. I think they only like people who are like them. Yeah. I think they might like them, but I don't know if they love them because, man, love don't get twisted like that. Um, yeah. So empathy is horizontal. Horizontal. Yeah. Uh, yeah, ain't we cracking on them MAGA people tonight? A bunch of heathens is what they would call them in the church. Them, like when somebody come in painted up, some of the church moms like, that ain't nothing but a Jazzy Bell walking up in here with that lipstick on. Well, the MAGA people, I'm telling you, they're a bunch of heathens, just a bunch of heathens. Don't I just like picking at them. Yeah, so nobody has the answers to all this. Only thing I tell you is at some point, all those answers are within us. Nobody's going to give them to us. We brought all the answers with us from wherever we came from. They're all in here. It's just, little by little, we trust ourselves to. Sherry said they're a bunch of evil, mean, racist bigots. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. They'll ban me over on TikTok, even just repeating stuff. But anyhow, life is kind of weird and wonderful and all that at the same time. So, but anyway, people, good evening to you. It's just so beautiful. Patsy said, maybe I said and repeat this. Patsy says she's not wrong. She's not wrong. Yeah. It is weird, isn't it? But we didn't talk about Trump hardly tonight. I love y'all. Y'all go on and have a good evening. Let me end this right here. See y'all.